I go work like a doctor. When I rock the mic, you got to like the way I operate.
Hello, everybody. I'm Granville Emerson, and welcome to LidLine Sports. A little different location tonight because it's 104, I don't know how, 100-something degrees in Seattle right now. So I had to find some air conditioning. Lil O and Renault Pepe Mean. What's up, Renault Pepe Mean? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, G?
It's hot. That's all I know.
Yeah, I'm in a different location as well.
Yeah, well, you know, got to do what you got to do. So, Pep, what is going on with Hector Santiago and the Mariners? The Major League Baseball trying to cut down on doctored baseballs, and Hector Santiago was the first pitcher to be suspended for 10 days for allegedly using a doctored substance. Manager Scott Service said that it was a mixture of rosin and sweat that caused it to be sticky.
Right. Yeah, I actually happened to be listening to the game. I had just got in the car and had turned it on. And, you know, they were in the middle of discussing what was going on, you know, with the situation. And I just thought, like, what are the White, you know, at first I thought it was the White Sox pitcher. I didn't realize it until a little bit later that it was the Mariners pitcher that had been the one being looked at and then eventually removed from the game. And it's just ridiculous because, for one thing, is what they've been doing this for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. So how are you going to come out there and be suspect for one, and now you're suspended for however many long games he's been suspended now? So it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, they have to actually test to see if it was a mixture of rosin and sweat, and if it is, then they'll rescind the suspension and have egg on their face. But I find it interesting that they keep coming up with all these rules to make offensive baseball more successful.
Right.
And like they've got every rule in the book now, and including allowing juice baseballs, but they want to cut down on doctor pitches. I mean, can't the pitcher get some kind of slight advantage, like with the new rules that they got going on?
Right. You know, especially, you know, because it's summer, right? So it means it's hot and they are sweaty. Yeah. You know, they need to have some kind of control as far as when they're holding the baseball, you know, because it's slippery. So they they got to have something.
Yeah. Well, you think so. Allyson Felix is related to your people.
Yes. Yes. She's related to my two oldest daughters.
Okay. Allyson Felix is the most decorated track and field star, woman track and field star in the world right now. 200 sprinter, 400 sprinter. She just qualified for the Olympics. She finished second at the Olympic trials, but she just released her own shoe. For a long time, she has been with Nike. Probably seen her on several commercials with Nike. Yeah. But she fell out with Nike. Did you hear about that, Pep?
I didn't.
Well, what happened was she wanted to have a baby. They did not want her to have a baby. She was scared to have a baby, saying that she had been running all of her life and didn't know what life would be like if she stopped running to have a kid. She was afraid, but she decided she was going to do it anyway. And during her pregnancy, she said she felt like Nike did not support her or another female athlete that was pregnant at the time. And so what she did was she spoke up to Nike, and Nike allegedly told her, and I'll quote her, quote, this is Allyson Felix, quote, I was told to know my place, that runners should just run, that it's just business.
Oh my gosh. That's
Well,
unbelievable.
First of all, I don't know who in their right mind decided they was going to tell a black woman she should know her place. That's the first mistake right there. And so subsequently, she left Nike and she started her own shoe company. Her shoe was created by two former Nike employees, two women, and the brand is called swooshed, and she'll be wearing it in the Olympics. She wore them in the trials, and she'll be wearing it in the Olympics. And the brand was started for her to empower women and to give women a voice. She's campaigning with that brand and letting people know that no woman should have to choose between being a professional and being a mother.
Right. Definitely agree with that.
And she says now, because of what she's done, sponsorship contracts look different for female athletes. And so kudos to Allyson Felix. Much success in the upcoming Tokyo Olympics. And there she is, long legs and all. And so shout out to her. Also, Harvard graduate. This woman is extremely intelligent and extremely fast. Harvard graduate Gabby Thomas set a 200-meter record. Thomas won the women's 200-meter dash during Saturday's U.S. Olympic trials, clocking in at 21.61 seconds. Not only did she beat her personal best record of 21.94 seconds, which was recorded during the 200-meter semifinals on Friday, but her time on Saturday is the second fastest in the history of the 200 meters.
Whew.
You know who was the fastest?
No, who? I was going to say
FloJo.
Yeah.
FloJo. Florence Griffith Joyner, the fastest at 21.34. So there's Gabby Thomas. Shout out to you, Gabby, for getting it in. And you know, Pep, she had to go through a little emotional, physical bout before she even got to that point, because back in May, she was diagnosed with, she hurt her hamstring, and during the MRI for the hamstring, they found a spot on her liver, and they thought it was cancerous, and so it turned out to be benign, and she did not have to have surgery. So she had to deal with that, and she said that if she was able to make it to the Olympic trials, that she was going to win and run her fastest, and she did it.
Yeah.
So shout out again to Gabby Thomas. One to look for, another one to look for in the Tokyo Olympics.
Yeah.
That old deal out of it. What'd you say?
3 more weeks.
Yeah. 3 more weeks to the Tokyo Olympics. That ought to be interesting as well. They're going to hold the games. It's going to be interesting to see in Tokyo games. Are they going to allow fans at the games?
The last I heard was no so far.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought, because they were only like 5% vaccinated or something like that in Japan. Even though I don't know how high their caseload is, but we'll see. Pep, starting Thursday, college athletes will be able to use their name, image, and likeness to make money. It's called the NIL. The NC2A went to court to try to stop it from happening filed a not a class action, but they filed a antitrust suit, and the Supreme Court smacked it down like they were Dikembe Mutombo. Like, get that ish out of here. Exactly. No. It was a 9-0 decision.
That's a landslide right there.
Exactly. And so now athletes will be able to make money off of their name, image, and likeness.
As they
Seven states have created laws, NIL laws that dictate how that's going to happen. Now, the rest of the states that don't have them, the institution has to say how they can make money or not. So it's kind of up in the air how it's all going to come about. Like, for instance, in Louisiana is a state that has the NIL law. But their law says that athletes, college athletes, cannot endorse alcohol. So now the question is, what does that mean? Okay, I understand I can't, do a cognac commercial for Hennessy, right?
Right.
But can I do a commercial for a restaurant that serves alcohol?
Good point. Good question.
Right?
Yes.
So I think that the fine print is going to need to be established. Like, I don't, in that scenario, I don't see how if you endorse a restaurant, how that's you endorsing alcohol. They just happen to sell alcohol. It's like if you endorse 7-Eleven, they serve beer or sell beer and wine. So I think it needs to be, kind of fine-tuned a little bit to see how they're going to actually regulate that. And it's all new. And so kudos to athletes now who can make some money in college.
Yeah.
You have any additional thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I think it's about time, because the NCAA has been making money off of them for years, and so it's about time that the student athletes get what they deserve, because, a lot of these student athletes are struggling, they're not allowed to make money, people forget that when it's during the off season, so to speak, that scholarship doesn't give them anything. They're not given anything. They don't make any. They don't have any leeway or to make money or whatever. So
they can't even work.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, so
it's crazy.
They're held hostage basically.
Yeah,
pretty much. So absolutely they deserve to profit from what they are doing. So for the school and for themselves. So. Kudos.
Yeah. Pep, did you happen to see Tom Brady on LeBron James' show, The Shop, on HBO?
I have not. I've not seen that show. I don't have HBO.
Okay.
But we every now and then Doreen uses her mom's account to watch some other stuff. But I haven't yet to watch that, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I would play something back, but it's got a whole lot of profane language on it.
Don't do it.
A whole lot. Brady's on there cussing like he's trying to be down with the bros. I'm like, Tom, don't get carried away and use the N-word. Trying to be hip.
Man. Don't do it.
He was on there talking trash and cussing and quoting Marshawn Lynch and and all of that, talking about
now,
he wishes.
Is this have to do with the fact that he was quoted as saying, he had talked to a team and they declined to, try to sign him or whatever, and he said, "Oh, so you sticking with that blankety blank there, huh? Okay." Was that part of that?
Yeah, that was part. That was one part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
That was part of it, but he goes on and on and on.
Hear about that?
Yeah, he goes on and on and on, like he trying to be down.
Okay.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what you got to go on in NFL Pep Talk, man? What's happening?
Hey, well, so right today, four-time All-Pro wide receiver Demaryius Thomas has decided to call it a career. Thomas spent 9 seasons in Denver. He was one of the 2 first-round picks in 2010. You know who the other one was?
No.
Tim Tebow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, he finishes as Denver's second all-time leading receiver behind Rod Smith. He was third in catches with 655 behind Rod Smith. And guess who?
Who?
Shannon Sharp.
Ah, okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he played 10 seasons overall, ended up with 724 receptions, 9,763 yards, and 63 touchdowns. He sent a short video via Twitter explaining that he will retire as a Denver Bronco. So good luck
Okay.
to Mr. Demaryius Thomas on future endeavors. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, if I recall, that the Seattle Seahawks had actually tried to sign him a few years back, if you remember.
Yeah.
So that would have been pretty interesting. So yeah, but good luck to Demaryius Thomas. He was definitely good.
Yeah,
So
he was.
yeah, so
I thought
kudos
he
to
was
that.
still productive, so I was surprised when I saw that he was retiring.
Yeah. Well, he
But
didn't play last year. His last season was 2019.
oh,
So I
okay.
guess,
Oh, he,
yeah,
he was in COVID. COVID.
yeah. I
He didn't
think
play
he
last year
opted
because
out.
of
I think
COVID.
it was one
He
of the
opted
opt out.
out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So last week we were off the show. We didn't have a show because the Rainier Avenue Radio's music thing had going on. But last week the big news around the NFL was that the Las Vegas Raiders offensive lineman Carl Nassib announced via Twitter that he is gay.
Mm-hmm.
Nassib posted a short video of him coming out. He's the first NFL veteran to share this via social media. Uh, this news. Several players have already given him support. Derek Carr, Bo Jackson, Saquon Barkley, and Julian Edelman, among others. Um, Social media, of course, was abuzz with support, but of course not without its share of ignorance and hate. There's questions. I've even seen a bunch of questions people post on Facebook. Well, why you got to announce, what you are or whatever? But it has nothing to do with what your preference is as far as who you like, who you're attracted to. It has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with your health and well-being, and basically, we still have the stigma of gays being, especially for pro athletes, not so much for politicians, actors, musicians. They come out. It's really no problem. But pro athletes still have that stigma of coming out and being afraid to be exposed. And so what this does to me, this is just my opinion, that it relieves a lot of the pressure, anxiety that you live with if you're gay. And I think it's good that he did this because it relieves a lot of that. It allows people that love him and care about him to support him and openly, right? And people don't have to be secretive and hide and things like that. So, I want to tell people that people are announcing that they're coming out. It has nothing to do with, that they trying to say, well, I'm announcing that I like men or I like women. That's not it. It's about health, well-being, like I said. So I think it's a good thing. And I'm hoping that this opens up for more players to, come out and, that are still facing the anxieties that they might have on being gay, and it affects their performance as well, naturally. So I say kudos to Carl Nassib for being brave enough to do this, open things up. There's always one pioneer, right? One guy, one
Yeah.
person, female, male, whatever, that for first that, there's always going to be a first, and I applaud him for that. And the NFL, I applaud them for backing him up. And today announced a commercial or campaign that it said that the NFL is gay. Now, listen, we're not trying to be funny. It's not anything to be not being humorous. It's just supportive. And so I'm, and they're supporting the LGBTQ community. So I say well done to the NFL as far as that's concerned. What do you think about that, G?
Well, he's the first openly gay player in the NFL. Everybody knows there's been gay players before,
Absolutely.
right? But he's the first openly gay player in the NFL. I mean, players in the NFL, and fans, they want guys to be macho, right? The gladiator, right? And he's supposed to be tough and macho, and some people can't wrap their head around the fact that somebody might be gay in all of those multitude of players that play for 32 teams. Like, that just by sheer numbers, somebody's gay, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And so my thought is this, and I posted this on social media last week, that if we want people to love us just because of who we are, but we hate people just because of who they are, we're no better and just like those that hate us.
All right.
Right. And so we need to just accept people for being who they are. Right. As long as they're not doing anything wrong or hurting anybody or doing evil, just accept them for who they are. Like,
absolutely.
What difference does it make to you if he's gay or if he came out as gay? What difference does that make to you? It doesn't make any difference at all to you. But by him proclaiming it, it is liberating to him.
Yes, absolutely. And
right?
others.
But in particular to him, because he's been hiding this all of his life, right? Or hiding it from his, just not being yourself or himself, right? Right. And so now by coming out and saying it, he's like, okay, I'm out now. I'm done with that. You deal with it. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, you deal with it. I'm not dealing with it no more. I am telling you who I am. Now you can accept me for who I am or not. Right? But I'm not going to live my life restricted and struggling with my identity to please you.
Right.
Right. So I think that good for him. Hopefully there's a day where it doesn't make any difference and we won't have to have the whole first person who came out gay thing. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I feel like this. I feel like it's mainly us old heads anyway that were raised basically in homophobia. I think today's generation of kids, they're pretty much accepting everybody as everybody.
Yes.
They're just raised kind of different than we were. I mean, we all joked and had jokes about gay people and what have you growing up.
Right.
And for me, I'll be honest, I was not fully accepting until I had to deal with my own gay nephew. Right. And have communication with him, and to the point where I'm like, yo, man, you are my family, right? I'm not going to ostracize you because you're gay. The dude been gay all his life. Like before he even came out and was gay, I knew he was gay.
Right.
As a kid, he had the tendency. So I just, but he's still my flesh and blood. Like he's still my family. And I think that it's crazy to me when people ostracize people because they have a gay person in their family and they kick them out of the family and they disown them and they do all that to them. That's whack.
We all have a gay person in our family. I have, we have friends and coworkers, and I love them all. I don't care about
Man,
that.
please. We all
I
have.
care.
We all,
What I'm saying? I care about
yeah.
them, but I don't care about whether they're gay or not, because you know what? It's not being gay is not anything to be bullied. That's the thing.
Right.
Here's the thing. It's hard for them to come out, because look, you go in the locker room and you hear other players and other people talking, and you hear the slander and stuff like that about gay people, because they don't know that you are, and you hear that, that's got to be real hurtful.
Yeah,
I don't want that. I don't want that for anyone.
Right. It's that way because culture made it that way. They've been stigmatized, right? And it goes like, it's that way for people that are different, right? So if you're on crack, same, right? So, right? No, I'm just saying. I mean, in everybody's family, everybody's got somebody gay, everybody's got somebody on drugs, everybody has, somebody in their family. The alcohol, that's different, right? Than the social norm.
Right.
And then we put them down, and we try to ostracize them instead of giving them the love and support to be the best version of themselves that they can be. So that's all I got to say about that. So
there we go.
Kudos to Carlos Nassib.
I hope I wasn't sorry if I was saying his name incorrectly. I don't like to do that.
Yeah.
But,
what's his name?
No, you might have said it correctly. I don't know if I
Carl. You said it correctly. I said it wrong. I called him Carlos. That's my nephew.
Oh, okay.
Not my gay nephew though, but that's my nephew, Carlos. But his name is Carl Nassib.
Okay.
To be accurate.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome.
To be accurate. All right. So, hey, a lot going on in the world today, and when it intersects with sports, we are obligated to talk about it. And thank you for that. When we come back, we'll talk NBA basketball and all that's going on in the NBA playoffs. It's been really, really interesting.
Very, yes.
To see what's been going down. We'll be right back with that and more after these messages. You're listening to LidLine Sports. I'm Granville Emerson, along with my partner, Renault Pepe Bean. You're listening to us on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, and all of your podcast platforms. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Rainier Avenue Radio.
I guess not, because you know what?
If you or a family member are 55 or over and need nursing home level care, but want to keep living where you are, check out Providence Elder Place PACE. Our program centers in the Rainier Valley and throughout Seattle and King County, offering healthcare, housing, transportation, social, and recreational activities. There are no copays or deductibles, and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE specializes in serving those with chronic health conditions, including diabetes, kidney disease, heart disease, and dementia. For over 25 years, this program keeps seniors out of nursing homes, assists family members caring for elderly loved ones, and works to keep the most vulnerable members of our community healthy in their homes. Call 206-320-5325. That's 206-320-5325. Or visit providence.org/elderplace.
1, 2, get down. What's up, big and little homies? This is Mas Vida Maraire, host of Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio World, your one-stop shop for Seattle sports. We cover preps, we cover college, we cover pro, we cover it all. Huskies, Mariners, Seahawks, Garfield, South, Roosevelt, Metro, King County. This is where you want to listen to for all the sports that's happening in Seattle. Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
See a bad
Country Doctor and Carolyn Downs Community Health Centers want you to protect yourself and your loved ones by offering free Moderna or Johnson & Johnson vaccinations. If you are 18 years of age or older, come down on Wednesdays from 1 to 4 p.m. to the McKinney Center, 2120 South Jackson Street, for your vaccination. You don't need an appointment or ID or insurance. For information, call 206-709-7198. This message brought to you by Country Doctor, Carolyn Downs Community Health Centers, and as a public service by Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not being reprimanded by traffic cops, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Hello, I'm Granville Emerson, and welcome back to LidLine Sports, along my co-host Renault Pepe Bain. Hey. And we're hoping to have Pep, a sports guru from the city of New York, Long Island. Hopefully, Tony Love, is he in the studio? Hopefully, we'll have Tony Love joining us. Tony Love is the voice of the Long Island Nets basketball team, G League basketball team, affiliate of the Brooklyn Nets. And so hopefully he'll come on and talk to us about the debacle in Brooklyn. What's up, Bill Walker Jr.? You staying cool, bro? Hey, what's up, DBA Mechanics? Hope you all are staying cool. Appreciate you tuning in to the show. Get what name right? What are you talking about? Oh, I got it right, Michael Carter. His name is Carlton C. There's nobody perfect. I made mistakes, and I'm going to make more mistakes. So that's the way it goes. As long as I try to correct them. And as many times as you correct me, I will correct myself. And thank you for your correction.
That's correct.
Pep, give me your thoughts on the NBA. Well, Phoenix is down by 3 right now, I think, to the LA Clippers. They lead the series 3 games to 1 and can close them out tonight in Phoenix. Give me your thoughts on that series.
Man, Phoenix seems to be the West Conference darlings. Because you remember last season, they were in the bubble, went 8-0, undefeated, but did not make the playoffs. And this is the first time they made the playoffs in the last, 10, 11 years. Yeah. So, hey, so kudos to them. Kudos to GM James Jones, who was the executive of the year or manager, whatever.
Yeah, executive of the year.
Yeah. So kudos.
Dale Demps could have easily been coach of the year too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like Phoenix. I like what they've been doing, and here's the thing: Phoenix, even the Clippers, they did something that the Brooklyn Nets could not do. And that would be overcome adversity when you lose a star player. We all know that when Kawhi went out, the Clippers still took games, the last 2 games from Utah and won. Why? Because they had other players, specifically Paul George himself and then Terrence Mann, step up. Phoenix had to go without Chris Paul for the first couple of games of this series because of COVID protocol. So what happened? Well, Cam Johnson, Cameron Payne, guys like that stepped up. But when you look at the Brooklyn Nets and their failure to overcome Milwaukee, who they were handling quite easily until they had we all know that James Harden had went out the first 43 seconds, so you really can't count him as far as the first couple of games because Brooklyn still handled Milwaukee quite easily. But once Kyrie went down, that was pretty much it for them because no one else stepped up. I mean, Joe Harris had a terrible series. He couldn't hit anything, and that's our guy. He didn't. And then Jeff Green, the game he did step up, they won, but that was all he gave them. So here's my thought on the NBA. We all talk about teams that are healthy, right? If this team is healthy, that team is healthy, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Well, you know what? From now on, I'm not going to count on that. I'm going to count on the fact that they're going to have somebody that's key that's not going to be there from now on. That's just going to be my train of thought. My thought will be now who will be the team that has the guys to step up? Who's going to be the ones that are going to be like, okay, this guy's out. These two guys are going to step up and try to maintain or at least keep some semblance of order where they can still compete and do well. I mean, like I said, Phoenix did that. The Clippers did that. Atlanta has done that because people forget that Atlanta lost Devontae Hunter, who is a key cog in that Atlanta team. So, and now, of course, we know that Trae Young had a little misstep yesterday. So they look to be in trouble. But if they have somebody that can step up, we shall see. And also, they don't have Cam Reddish too. He's been out too for the whole playoffs. So my thing is, again, if don't worry.
I asked you about the Clippers and the Suns. You gave me the whole gamut.
I did, man. I'm sorry, but it all tied in. See, that's why I had.
Okay.
Sorry, but it all tied
Hold on,
in.
man. We got our guest in the holding room. Let's bring him on and we'll continue talking about it. Hey, there he is.
What's going on, man? How you doing? Can you hear me?
I'm doing good, man.
Mic good?
You got
a couple times.
Down or something. We got double feedback.
Yeah, we can hear you 2 or 3 times.
Oh man,
There we go.
How's that sound?
That's good.
How y'all doing, man?
Hey, what's
Still
happening?
still getting the echo though.
Hold on 1 second. I must have it. I was doing a radio show earlier.
Yeah. Chill those reverbs and nouns.
Yeah, he's got that extra Barry White going on.
That's the voice. That's the voice of the Long Island Nets.
All right.
Well, without the reverb, of course. How's that sound?
That's
Much
better.
Much better. Good. How you guys doing, man?
We're doing good, man. What's up with you?
Hey, man, it's been a busy New York 2 weekends working, and I've done some outdoor events. I've been moving around a little bit, getting used to being outdoors again, and of course doing my show, doing radio Friday and Saturday, getting it back together, man.
Okay.
Getting it back together. How you, overall, I've been watching you. Things going good in New York. We're adjusting. We thought we were going to the championship, but we're going to Cancun instead. So,
yeah. So what happened with that?
Man, people want to say we're making excuses. We're not making excuses, bro. Bottom line was, we just could not overcome our injuries. We really could not. The last Kyrie injury, we put James Harden out there. Obviously, he gave us all that he had.
Mm-hmm.
But play and a half just doesn't really get it done in the second round of the playoffs. And obviously, Durant gave us everything he had. If Joe Harris had remembered he was the NBA three-point champion, if he just remembered that, let alone made these shots, but we don't know what happened. That was a surprise.
Yeah, so you probably need to turn me down because it's coming echoing back.
I'm gonna turn the volume down on you.
Just go straight. Just go straight. So I feel like this. the NBA, and Tony, you've been watching it for a long time. You know, it's a battle of attrition. Everybody goes through injuries. It's when you have injuries and who gets injured. You're going to have injuries. It's when you have them and who has them, right? So I felt like Brooklyn, I want your thought on this. I felt Brooklyn created the problem by not playing those dudes during the season and then expected them to go from 0 to 100 in the playoffs, and they ended up with soft tissue injuries from not playing and trying to go play in the playoffs.
I think a lot of people thought that. I mean, of course, it's not the first time I'm hearing this. Some people thought we actually were sitting guys for long period of times. They were healthy. That's good. That's really not what happened. We may have had guys we gave the extra day or two.
What?
It wasn't.
Kyrie took off for weeks.
But that's not us. That's not our plan. That was Kyrie's plan. That's different from what you just said a minute ago. Yeah, that wasn't our plan. But
that wasn't the load management process.
That was Kyrie management. So in terms of what the team did, because we were winning without the big three, we were able to give them like 1 or 2 extra days, make sure everybody was really coming back healthy. A lot of teams can't do that because they need their players. We knew we were going to make the playoffs. At most point, we were at the top 1 or 2 seed all throughout. Either everybody was getting healed. So it gave us a false sense of security, I'm sure, because we didn't have to put that super rush on. And then, that last 10 days, everybody came back. And we solidified the number 2 seed, which is what we wanted the 1. We solidified the 2. And we were not afraid of Philadelphia. So we knew we could beat anybody else into the conference. And we had no fear of going to Philly on the road. There just was no fear there. Unfortunately, out of nowhere, Harden comes up hobbling again. So now you start the playoffs, and there goes Harden.
Well, Harden hasn't played either, though.
Harden played in the first round.
Yeah, I'm talking about at the end of the regular season, Harden wasn't playing either. I feel like they was taking turns sitting out stretches.
Right, he might have been the only player that might have sat until game 1 of the playoffs. Once he had that last injury to his hamstring and couldn't fit, he pretty much sat until the first round. But he had done his job already. I would say Harden was probably the team MVP. And there was nothing else.
So what? I mean, that's my point. It's this modern day basketball where dudes sit out when they want to sit out instead of playing games. Like, what the heck?
Harden was hurt. I mean, you could tell from the way he played in that playoffs. He was hurt. We wanted him 100%. And so to give him those last 2 days, the guy goes from Houston to Brooklyn. He's a throw-in of the big three, and turns out to almost be the MVP of the big three. He earned those 2 or 3 extra days off.
I would not call Harden a throw-in, but okay.
He wasn't the original plan of the big three. Our original plan was Kyrie, Durant, Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert. Remember that was the
yeah.
And those 2 guys, LeVert and Dinwiddie, I love those guys. But the only problem is they got hurt a lot.
I take that team, even with as well as Harden fit in with us. I take that team right now healthy.
Yeah, I did not want the trade for Harden, to be honest. I wanted to keep LeVert and Dinwiddie together.
So to me, I mean, like I said on my show, Tony, you just can't put together a bunch of dudes and expect to win a championship. It just doesn't work like that. I remember when the Lakers got near the end of their career, they got Nash and the Mailman and Gary Payton, and they all got hurt too.
So they had all kind of primed out by the time they got to the Lakers.
Yeah, they got hurt. They got primed out because they were hurt. They would have been healthy. That would have been a whole different story.
The boys was on the other side. But this team is not on the other side. These boys still 30, 29, 30, 31 years old.
True. But my point is they got hurt just like they did.
Okay. But if we had our original team was Karis LeVert, Dinwiddie, who could imagine Dinwiddie going down for the whole season. You know that wasn't in the plan.
Right. But injuries are never in anybody's plan. So I don't know why people try to give people excuses because of injuries. Injuries happen. And if you don't, I mean, hell, Magic Johnson might have 6 championships if James Worthy doesn't get hurt. Right? He doesn't play against Jordan.
I mean,
when they beat the Lakers.
You're explaining why Magic doesn't have 6. We're explaining why we're not going to the championship. I mean,
yeah, injuries. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Is who gets hurt and when they get hurt.
And they get hurt, right. Now,
but you can't count out guys that have to step up as well. And like I mentioned, Tony, before you came on, I was mentioning the fact that the Clippers and the Phoenix Suns had to overcome injury or somebody missing. Like Phoenix had to overcome the fact that Chris Paul was out for COVID protocol. And then, of course, the Clippers in the Utah series had to go without Kawhi Leonard the last 2 games. But the thing about it is PG-13 stepped up, and especially Terrence Mann, because nobody thought that he would get 39, right? And he stepped up. So
Reggie Jackson as well.
And yes, absolutely, Reggie Jackson. And so here's my thought, what I was saying earlier. I'm not going to look at the NBA come playoff time as who's going to be healthy. I'm going to look at it as who's not going to be there, because you got to figure some key cog is not going to be there, and who will step up. The one, if they got guys on their team that step up, they're the ones that's going to be successful in the playoffs.
Well, that's always the case. That's always the case.
But no one looks at that. That's the thing.
Right.
Everybody's looking at about being healthy, whereas you gotta reverse that. You gotta look at who's not going to be there and who's going to step up.
Yeah. Well, I agree.
Right. In terms of step up, we were probably 2-3 pointers from Harris away from going to the conference final.
Absolutely.
That's how close we came. You make 2 of those, then we're talking about packing our bags on our way to Atlanta or whoever. But
or KD's foot.
or right. Right. Foot back about 3 inches, right?
Yeah.
The game, any sport sometimes can be a sport of inches, game of inches. That was one. And like I said, we're surprised. We expected to go to the conference final at worst. We thought we'd go to the final. And
yep.
You would put
So Tony, what's the vibe there in Brooklyn, and what's the forecast for next year?
Well, we obviously we believe that there's a lot of talk about Kyrie. You knew that was going to happen, but there's nobody out there that's going to get equal value for Kyrie Irving. That's not going to happen. If there's some kind of rich stretch Kyrie for something like that, they're all going to be back in their destination. But the real thing is as just guys that we know are going to step up. I mean, Harris is a playoff. That we like what he does, what he brings during the regular season, but this was a shocker to see him missing open shots, and we do still need a big man. We didn't play Jordan.
Yeah, why? Why didn't Jordan get any time?
Coach and D'Antonio just felt he slowed down too much, and he can't keep up with the big boys. That was a coach's decision. That's going to be something that we think going to come back to haunt us. I thought he played well during the regular season.
Yeah.
He's stayed on the other end of alley-oop from Harden, and we had no alley-oops pretty much in the playoffs once Harden got hurt. The young boy we had with the locks, no playing time. We had nobody young or old playing center, and you're gonna have to not necessarily hire a center to play primarily. You need a body that can cover that spot.
So
I'm sorry,
they
guys.
wanted to play D'Antonio small ball and play Blake Griffin at the 5.
To be honest with you, D'Antonio style war on us here. The people that that I'm really cool with, and I can't call names, all that kind of stuff, but
yeah,
I'm feeling we won't be doing that next year.
No,
being the experienced coach was able to be the aggressor in that rookie coach versus dominant, long-term coach. But I think that they're going to expect more from the head coach next year. I don't think we're going to be seeing this D'Antoni, because literally we became the Rockets in the last 30 days. We just became the Rockets. And
Yeah.
you know what that ends at. So you know that. We don't even know how that goes out.
And G, you know how I feel about D'Antoni. Man.
Well, I don't see that much difference because Steve Nash is a D'Antoni protege. I mean, he played for him. The system is his system. I mean, what is he gonna come up with different? Like that's his style. He's Phoenix Suns D'Antoni philosophy.
You forget you had Amari Stoudemire on that bench. Amari played for D'Antonio, but he also played for a defensive Knicks team.
Mm-hmm.
He has two different philosophies that one listen to.
But here's the point. Couldn't DeAndre have been their version of Stoudemire?
He should have been. That's why we don't know that. That's why we know that this was not a Nash decision only, because that's how he was kind of being used throughout the season.
Okay.
No one on this side of the Brooklyn Bridge saw no playing time in the playoffs. That surprised everybody. You know,
So what's the local media there requiring of Steve Nash? What are they asking him, and what does he answer on the local level?
They're asking him to step up and be the head coach. Everybody here is convinced that this was D'Antonio's. Everything I've read and all the sidebars, and obviously New York gives you a lot more media than everybody else. I hear you off with some of it. So they're asking him to be the head coach. They're saying whatever your philosophies are, do that, because we saw nothing but D'Antonio the last month. That's what we saw, and it's not a winning formula. It hasn't been, and it never will be, as Brother Bean said.
Okay, thank you.
So, he's been here before, did the New York thing, and other than a lot of points, that's not a winning formula. And people are asking Nash. Nash is still very loved here. Nash built a reputation after he got away from D'Antoni. He moved to New York. He became a very visible. I don't know if you guys noticed. He moved here. He became a very visible face in the parks of New York. He played pickup ball with just the average ball player. He'd be found on West 4th Street any day of the week. He'd bring guys over to the Barclays. They go down to the practice facility. He became a very beloved figure here. That's why winning the job was very easy. And the fans really had no. That's why you didn't hear much booing, not much hissing. It was, but now you say the same. You say D'Antonio, and you don't get that same response. So I got to.
So Nash has got to. Nash, if D'Antoni doesn't get one of these head coaching jobs, Nash has got to get rid of him.
I'm not gonna say get rid of him. We're hoping he gets. Let's just go with your first point. Let's hope he gets one of these coaching jobs. But if he doesn't, then Nash has got to go in the room and say, "I'm the head coach this year."
Yep, and he's got to run things his way, not D'Antoni way.
It can't look like it can't look like Phoenix. It can't look like Houston. Look like the Knicks. It's got to look like what we thought these three guys could do. At time we saw them do, but we never saw them together enough to really tell how good we were.
Right.
And it's got to be Steve Nash. You're the coach. You're smart, because we want to see smart basketball. And that's who Steve needed. You don't win 2 MVPs at that size, without some smarts. And we didn't play smart.
Right.
Yeah, it's abundantly clear to me, and it should be to everybody right now, that the NBA regular season and the NBA playoffs are two altogether different things.
Absolutely, yeah,
and
sure.
two altogether different styles of play. Yeah. And the NBA regular season, like Pep said, is ABA, everything but the multicolored ball, and the playoffs is old school NBA basketball. Even to the point now where they're not even calling fouls. They just you watch the Phoenix Clippers series. They just let Patrick Beverly just rake people across the arm and take the ball from him. no foul called at all. And so and so it's two different things. So I'm still not sure if that group with Kyrie and Harden and KD can win a championship, because I don't know if they'll play defense well enough in the playoffs, but all the way through to a championship. Maybe first round, second round, but all the way through, I'm not sure. Especially if they don't do it during the regular season at all, and then you get to the playoffs and say, okay, now we're going to play defense. Oh, now I pulled my hamstring because I was out there trying to play defense for the first time.
Yep.
As bad as it looked a lot of times, because we concentrated on how good we were offensively, a lot of our scores, because we scored so many times, 125 or more.
Yeah.
And because we did that so regularly during the regular season, defense did take a backseat. So we were dropping 125, 130, and 140. He's not paying attention to the fact he was hitting 117, 118. And even though the score's not close, that's a lot of damn points. One team to score against you. So
it is. But then during the playoffs, Milwaukee came out playing defense.
Right, and we played some too. I think we held them to 86 points twice.
Yeah, and that's why everybody got hurt. They wasn't used to doing it.
You held Milwaukee twice, 86 points. In fact, we lost one of those 86 games. It tells you that we had the capability.
But like I said, it's got to be sustained, and it's got to be sustained without injury.
Right. It did catch everybody off guard because we weren't playing defense. We beat Milwaukee by 39. I think the first game we had a 49-point lead in that game, and then finished them off by 39.
Yeah. Do you feel what I'm saying, though? Do you feel what I'm saying? You just can't go into the playoffs and just start playing hard like that. You're gonna get hurt, and that's what happened.
Defense is a lot of backpedaling, a lot of adjusting side to side. Offense, right?
That's got to be something that you do, that you use them muscles during the season, not just in the playoffs. So I'm interested to see what happens with the Brooklyn Nets, man. Joe Harris is my guy, coached him for 2 years. So, I'm sad to see that he didn't step up. So I feel like he has the redemption thing going for him next year, and he should come out being a monster and knocking down shots and getting to the playoffs and doing his thing and showing that this was an aberration. That's his thing. That's what he's got to do. And so Brooklyn will definitely still be probably the front runner again when the season starts.
Front runner too. I hope he was.
All right, bro. I want to thank you, man, for your time. We're all out of time. That's my fraternity brother in Omega Sci-Fi. Yeah. All
right.
Like, what the hell is all that? Anyway, next on Rainier Avenue Radio is Seattle Sports Weekly. Y'all don't go away. Tune in next week for more LidLine Sports with Renault,
Pepe, brother,
and Lil O Stevenson when he comes back. And we'll have Tony back on, talk more Brooklyn Nets and what's going down on the East Coast. Pray for us, Tony. It's 100-something degrees here in Seattle. We ain't used to that.
I don't know how y'all living.
All right. Tune in next time. We'll holler. Peace.
I go work like a doctor when I rock the mic. You got to like the way